So in the last class, we were discussing how we can go from a higher order group to a lower order group by using descent in symmetry, and vice versa by using ascent in symmetry. And then there is a typically group subgroup relation, and how if there is a group subgroup relation between two point groups, the IR representations or irreducible representations of one point group are also related to another point group. So what is the physical significance of that relation, that correlation between the IR representations of two point groups? Is that if a property transforms as one IR representation in one group, then it will transform to its correlated IR representation in the subgroup, right? So, and we saw that we tried to correlate D4H and C4V point group, and we saw that each IR representation in C4V correlated with two IR representations in D4H, because D4H had 10 IRs and C4V had 5 IRs. Now, let us see if we go one step down, what do we see? So, we were discussing that there might be a case where degeneracy is lifted. What do I mean by that? I mean that when I go from one point group to other, the degenerate representation in one point group may not remain as the same degenerate representation in subgroup. It may reduce further to two individual one-dimensional representations. So we will see that. So let us go further down. So let's start with lecture 41 today. So we'll start with C4V, writing C4V character table. So earlier we went from D4H to C4V. Now we will go one step down to C2V. Okay. So now for C4V, we know that there are symmetry operations which are E2C4, C2, 2 sigma V, and 2 sigma T, right? And the Mulliken symbols for IR representations are A1, A2, B1, B2, and E, right? So there are 5 classes, so 5 IRs are present. Now on this side, we will write the lower subgroup, which is C2V. Now C2V, if you remember that it has only E, C2, and 2 sigma V's, right? There is no sigma D, there is no C4. So we'll not be writing the characters under these ones where the cross is there, right? And then, okay, so let us write down these characters from C4V character table, okay? So we are writing in black from C4V character table, which is 1, 1, 1, okay? And then again it is 1, 1, minus 1. For B1, B2 also it is 1, 1, 1, and 1, 1, minus 1, and this is 2, minus 2, 0. Okay, so there is nothing here. I'm not going to write here because there is no corresponding symmetry operation in C2V. Okay, so now if you see that, now if you compare these characters to C2V character table, what do you get? Let us write down the corresponding Mulliken symbols here. So for 111, we know that it is going to be A1, right? For 11 minus 1, again it is going to be A2, and we have 111 again, so it is A1, and it is A2 over here, right? And there is no 2D representation in C2V point group, so we cannot write anything over here, right? So now if you see, if we try to draw a correlation between C4V, let me use the black color for C4V. So if we try to draw this correlation between C4V and C2V, we see that A1, A2, B1, B2, E, and we have A1, A2, B1, B2, right? So now we know that A1 is correlated with A1, A2 is correlated with A2, B1 is correlated with A1, and B2 is correlated with A2, right? So we can see that here directly. Now there is no B1 and B2 in C2V are not correlated with anything in C4V so far to any of the 1D representation. Now how do we find out what is E going to be represented under C2V point group? So how do we do that? It is not as straightforward, but it is not difficult also. So what do we do? So E representation, EIR representation is considered as a tau reducible under C2V point group, right? So once you do that, now the case is simple. So if you consider E as tau reducible, you can reduce it under C2V point group using reduction formula. So I will write down under C2V point group, tau E or tau reducible, which is nothing but E in C4V point group, reduces to B1 plus B2, right? This comes using reduction formula, which I'm not going to show how to do this calculation again. You must have done a lot of practice by now. Okay, so using reduction formula, we know that now E under C4V point group can be reduced to B1 plus B2. So that means now I can say that my E is correlated with B1 and B2. Okay, so now you see that B1 and B2 both are correlating with E. That means that my E representation is now, which was earlier degenerate in C4V, is now, so we can say that the degeneracy is lifted now when we go from C4V to C2V. Okay, so we can say degeneracy of E representation is lifted when we go from C4V to C2V. So this is a very important point, that degeneracy is lifted, because now consider that any property, let us say that, okay, let us find out what is the basis set for E under C4V. Let me look at the character table and let's find out what is the basis under E. So for C4V, for E, the basis is XY. So XY jointly forms the basis. Now what happens here in case of C2V point group? So X forms the basis for B1 and Y forms the basis for B2. Okay. So now a property, let us say that the Px, Py orbitals were earlier degenerate in C4V point group. Now when you go from C4V to C2V, now Px orbital and Py orbital has their independent symmetry, and hence it might have independent energy, right? There can be accidental degeneracy, but that is a different case. But the property which is along x-axis and along y-axis are no longer have same symmetry criteria under C2V point group, which earlier had same symmetry because they were degenerate. They were bound to be degenerate, right? Because of symmetry. So that is a very, very important concept, that degeneracy can be lifted, and if you go from a higher order point group to a lower order point group. Okay. So now let's start with the actual reason why we started discussing ascent and descent in symmetry. So the reason was how to reducing representations of groups with infinite order. This was the reason why we started discussing this, right? So if you remember that we were discussing beryllium hydride case, right? And we had made these two arrows as two sigma bonds, and we made a tau reducible under d infinity h point group, right? So now the problem is, so this was a 2 cross 2 representation, right? So we could easily inspect that this is sigma g plus sigma u plus, right? This was obtained by inspection. Why it was obtained by inspection? Because if you notice that the reduction formula, let us write down the reduction formula. So reduction formula, AI is equal to 1 over h summation over all r chi AB and chi I r, right? So now if you see where this is the character for irreducible representation, this is the character for reducible representation under symmetry operation R, and this is summation over all R. And the important point here is that H is in denominator, which is the order of the group. Now if you have infinity order point group, then you will have infinity here to divide to, so the whole thing goes to 0. So that means you will not be able to calculate the coefficients for irreducible representations, as in what is the number of times a particular AI will come over, right? So this becomes difficult how to use it. So in case of 2 cross 2 representation, it was rather easy that by inspection we could do it. So let us assume that, let's say if we have a molecule X, Y, X, and now I am interested in some property which requires me to formulate 3 vectors XYZ, XYZ, XYZ at each atom. Okay, so I can have this requirement that this is my X1, Y1, Z1, X2, Y2, Z2, X3, Y3, Z3. Now this tau reducible will be 9 cross 9, right? So first of all, it is not straightforward to construct a tau reducible with 9 cross 9 if we have infinity order, right? Because with infinity order, the creation, so let's say if we have d infinity h over here, and we have e c infinity c v phi sigma v, sorry, this is phi, and so on, right? So it's not straightforward to create this tau reducible itself because it's 9 cross 9 order. What happens to each vector under these infinity order operations is not easy to calculate. So then forget about what is the, how do we reduce this to IR representation? That is even more troublesome. So then what happens, what you do here is, so you take this advantage of group subgroup relation and go to a lower point group, lower order point group. So the idea is to pretend the molecule has lower symmetry, lower order or finite order, but you have to choose such order so that it is subgroup of infinity order point group. Okay, finite order group symmetry. Now reduce the reducible representation to component IRs and then correlate them to appropriate. We will see this, how to do this for this particular example itself. Appropriate species of the true higher order point group. Okay. So we first pretend that the molecule actually has a lower order point group, which has to be a subgroup of the original point group. So original point group here is d infinity h. So let us assume that the molecule is actually d2h symmetry. Okay. So we know that it is not, but we are just pretending. Okay. Now we know that d infinity h has a subgroup which is d2h. That we can easily identify. Now it has to be d2h. So now create the tau reducible in d2h point group. Okay. So what is d2h? So let us list down the symmetry operations. So we have E, C2Z, C2Y, C2X, then we have I, sigma XY, sigma YZ, sigma ZX. That's all, right? Okay, and this is my tau reducible. And where are the vectors? The vectors are, if there are 3 atoms in linear molecule, these are my vectors. Each of this has a XYZ, right? And now these are my bonds. So now we will not write the independent matrices for 9 cross 9 for all the symmetry operations. What we will do is we will just see which of these vectors will change position, and accordingly whether they will contribute positive, negative or 0 to this symmetry operations. So none of the vectors will change, so it will be 9. For C2Z, so for C2Z 3 vectors will not change, which are oriented in, let's say if the molecule is oriented vertically, then 3 z vectors will not change and x and y will move. So you will have only, let's say, okay, if it is C2Z, how many vectors should not move? So there should be 6 vectors which will go to negative side, and right, so we can just draw it, the bigger picture, otherwise you will get confused. So you have one atom, another atom, another atom, and I have small vectors which are xyz here, xyz here, xyz here, and this is my bigger xyz frame. So if it is drawn like this, so your 3 z1 z2 z3 will contribute +1 +1 +1 each. All 3 x's will go to minus x's, so that will contribute -3, and all the y's will contribute -3. So overall it will be -3, right? Now for C2y, if you consider, so C2y is going through this, these two atoms are replacing with each other, so they will not contribute anything, whereas the y will contribute +1, x will contribute -1, z will contribute -1, so you will have -1. Similarly here -1, I will contribute -3. Similarly sigma xy, if you consider, so sigma xy, you will have +1, sigma xz will be +3 and +3. Okay, so this you should be able to calculate out if you do it carefully. Now I can create this tau reducible in lower symmetry point group in D2H, and I should be able to reduce this also. So using reduction formula, I can say my tau reducible is equal to AG plus B2G plus B3G plus 2B1U plus 2B2U plus 2B3U. So this was a 9-dimensional representation. So overall, it should contain 9 1D representations. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is correct. Of course, you will have to use the reduction formula to be able to say that it is correct. Now, how do we convert these into D infinity H Mulliken symbols, right? So we have to correlate all these IR representations under D2H to D infinity H. So what we have to do is we have to write, let us draw partial correlation table between D infinity H and D2H. So I'm saying partial because it's an infinity point group. You cannot draw complete correlation table, right? So let's draw this. So of course you will have to do, either it will be given to you, you can find out in books, or you can draw it yourself. So write down the characters and how we have been drawing between D4H and C4V, or C4V and C2V. Use the same principle. I'll just draw it for you. I'll just write it down. So you have sigma G plus, sigma G minus, then we have pi G, and we have delta G, and we have sigma U plus, sigma U minus, pi U, and delta U. Now this one correlates to AG, then we have B1G, then you have B2G plus B3G, then you have AG plus B1G, B1U, this was AU, B2U plus B3U, and this is AU plus B1U. So now we know that our tau reducible was, let me go up, this is my tau reducible. So if I correlate back AG to the IR representation under D infinity H, so I have got sigma G plus, B2G and B3G together, it is pi G. So you have pi G. So now again you see that this is a 2D representation and these are two 1D representations, right? So there is a degeneracy which is being lifted when you go from D infinity H to D2H. Okay, so this is done. Now 2B1U and 2B2U. So what do we have here? Two of these, B1U, B2U and B3U. So B1U corresponds to sigma U plus, sigma U plus, and these are two of those, so we have two. Then we have two of B2U plus B3U, so B2U plus B3U gives you pi U, so we will write two of pi U's, right? So now this is 1D, this is a 2D, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So total 9 dimensions are coming. So because this is 1D, this is 2D, this is 1D, this is 2D, right? So 1 1-dimensional, 1 2-dimensional 3, 2 1-dimensional 5, and then 2 2-dimensional, so 4, so 5 plus 4 9. Okay, so now you have got yourself tau reducible, and now next step is whether you want to go for studying molecular orbital diagram or any other thing, like whatever physical property you want to study, that you can. But the idea was to how to reduce a representation under infinity order point group, which cannot be done directly by reduction formula, And what you have to do is you have to go to use descent and symmetry, go to a subgroup of bigger or infinite order point group, find out the reducible representation in that point group, reduce it, and now correlate back the IR representations back to the higher order point group and find your answer, and proceed further as depending on the physical property, whatever you are looking for, right? So I hope this should be very, very clear now, and I would suggest do practice it a lot again, and we'll go to next physical property. So chemical bonding is now complete. We will go to next physical property in next class onwards. Thank you very much.